better. Already 15 seconds in. We haven't docked yet. Okay, here we go. On today's episode of the Twedt Show Podcast, we got a lot of things to discuss. We got the National Championship game, and we got some NFL I wanted to discuss a little bit, and maybe a little bit extra stuff towards the end of the show. So with that being said, let's get started with today's episode. All right, so I'm going to start off the episode with the National Championship game because I feel like it probably will take me like 5 minutes to talk about. Actually, it just take me like 30 seconds. Here you go. Georgia kicked the shit out of TCU. There you go. But no, a little bit more breakdown to it. Okay, because I'm sort of a Big 12 guy. Obviously, you can tell by my hat that the school that I'm wearing is a Big 12 school. So, in a sense, I was rooting for TCU to at least, if they weren't going to win, they would at least show me hope, or at least be like, hey, we were competitive against Georgia, the best team in all the country, and all of college football. Was not the case whatsoever. Was not the fucking case. I was horrible. What the fuck was that, TCU? What the fuck was that? Are you kidding me? That was terrible. Are you kidding me? Now, I'm gonna be a little bit nicer, but I'm gonna go off on you. I'm gonna be nice to you. Look, you had a great season. I'm not gonna doubt that. I'm not. You had a great season. Don't get me wrong. You had a great season. You had some unbelievable wins in the regular season, going through that gauntlet of the Big 12. Obviously, us Big 12 people know that Big 12 is like top 3 best conference in the country. Nope, there's no arguments about it. I know it, and everybody, I feel like most people know it. So, obviously got to the Big 12 championship game. They played K-State, who's also a great team, but at the same time, they also got their ass whooped by Alabama. Those are, okay, here's the thing. The two teams that represented the Big 12 championship game got their ass whooped by the SEC. Oh, guess what? They played the two best teams in that conference. Hello, what was going to happen? Now, would we have liked it to be competitive? Of course. That's what we always want for the Big 12 teams if they're going to play someone good like that. But it's just sometimes never the case. Just like, for example, when Oklahoma played Alabama and LSU and Georgia in the college football playoffs, they always either get blown out, or besides that 2017 Rose Bowl game where it was one of the greatest college football games I've ever seen in my life, it's always bad for the Big 12 when they're always in the college football playoffs prior to this year's TCU Michigan game. So let me get back to TCU in a second. Obviously, that was a bad showing for the Big 12. Not a great reputation of what the Big 12 football is all about. Now, TCU is sort of a team that needed some big plays, and they couldn't get those big plays because you know why? They're playing against Georgia, who arguably has one of the best defenses in the country. Am I wrong? No, of course I'm not wrong, because you just look at that. You just look at that defense. You tell me probably like 8 out of the 11 are all NFL prospects. Even 11 out of the 11, but most likely, I don't know, 8 out of the 11 are probably going to be like all pros in the NFL or something like that, because they're all freaking good. One of them is going to be the number 1 pick, probably that's going to be selected by the Chicago Bears. My God, it was just like, holy crap, this team is so good. And last year they were even better. Obviously, they had Georgia's defense had their moments where they were dominant, and sometimes they were giving up big plays, like we saw in the Ohio State game. Obviously, Ohio State exposed them a little bit, and we were sort of in the back of our minds like, oh, maybe TCU can sort of do that too. Wrong. TCU, that was an embarrassment. You lost 65-7, a 58-point loss. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Like, I wasn't even expecting you to win the game possibly. I was expecting you to at least make it close, but you lost in the worst way possible. You guys got ass whooped. I mean, my God. Well, everyone's going to be saying, oh, see, this is why TCU shouldn't have never been in the college football playoffs. We all should have voted Alabama, blah, 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 blah. No. TCU still deserved to get in. Alabama did not. Because you know why? Because they already had 2 losses. You know who their 2 losses were? Tennessee. They were to Tennessee and LSU. Now, if they would have only had 1 loss and TCU would have had one loss, then I would argue. Then I'd be like, okay, sure, put Alabama in. But no, you got 2 losses. In this current format that we're in, you can't have a 2-loss team over a 1-loss good football team. It's not going to happen. I don't understand why there was all these and I'm sure just more Bama fans, but like these people out there that were saying, "Oh, Bama should be in over TCU. TCU's not really that good." It's like, okay, first of all, TCU is good. You just lost to a good team on that day. It's not their fault, you know. The K-State in the Big 12 championship, it's not their fault. They played their hardest. Max Duggan put the team on his back. It's not his fault that his coach, on a 4th-and-1 goal line situation, didn't give him the ball and handed it off in a shotgun to a running back, and he didn't get in. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. I'm just saying, look, the Big 12 has its moments. If we get in a situation like we did 2 weeks ago when TCU played Michigan, if we beat them, great, that's awesome. But like, it's just like one of these moments like here, it's like you're not representing the Big 12 properly. It's just, I don't know, because I feel like eventually somebody else besides the SEC is going to have to win the national championship to earn a little bit of respect. Obviously, we've seen Ohio State and Clemson win it, but outside of that, like, it's either been Georgia, Alabama, or LSU. Those are the three. Obviously, we've seen an LSU in 2019 team go just nuclear and just crush everybody they've ever played. Not even close. Whoever they played was getting blown out. Didn't even matter. And we saw last year's Georgia team after get a little exposed in that SEC championship against Bama, who was also really good at the time. But then they got their revenge in the national championship game. Because you know why? Because they played each other. They're like, okay, we know what they're going to do. We know how they're going to attack this. We're going to do this. And obviously there were some key injuries and all that other stuff. But anyways, it's just, it was not a good showing for the Big 12. TCU, like I said, it was a great story all you college football year round. Max Duggan deserved to be in the Heisman race. He played awesome, representing the state of Iowa gracefully. Shout out Max. And I mean, he's a good guy. I've seen him in a couple of interviews he's done. Cool. It seems like a really cool cat. I really do like him a lot. I'm just a little disappointed. And I'm sure he is too in the performance that they give out. But like, holy cow, that was like that defense was almost bad as USC's defense this year. My God, I mean, if USC put their defense out there against Georgia probably would have put up 80. My God. Now, okay, you're going to say, oh, what if Michigan would have given him a game? No, we don't know that for sure. We'll never know if Michigan could give him a game because, why? Because you got to play the games. They're like, oh, they should have played. Really, the national championship game was like Ohio State and Georgia. Well, it's like, yeah, probably. That was probably the best game we've seen in a long time in college football playoffs. Just like with that TCU Michigan game, it was like one of the good ones that we haven't seen in a while. These semifinals were actually like really good football. It's just, we can't take away what TCU did this year. We can't just say because of this loss. We can't just say, oh, TCU's this, TCU's that. This is why we should have never put TCU in. Look, it happens. Okay. Georgia's really good. TCU was really good this year. They just ran into a buzzsaw in Georgia. All right. But still, look, I have mixed emotions about it. But I can come to a realization that like Georgia was just the better team this year, and TCU just couldn't hang with them. Simple as that. Like they just simply could not hang with them. All right. It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't. So congratulations to Georgia though on winning this year's national championship. That makes it back-to-back, and obviously that makes sort of a conversation. Is Georgia the new powerhouse in the SEC and the college football in general? I mean, they might be. I'm not going to doubt that. They obviously could be the new powerhouse in college football. Are they the new Alabama? Probably. Are we going to start chaining out with a "We want Georgia" instead of "We want Bama"? Probably. It could eventually happen. I'm sure there'll be some college football fans that'll be like, yeah, we want Georgia now, because like they're the new people. They're like the new Bama. In reality, they're the new Bama. Like Bama will still be around and they're still going to be competitive and all that as long as Nick Saban's still the coach. But like, I don't see how. I mean, Kirby Smart just keeps recruiting these crazy talented players, and he keeps elevating their game. And obviously we can talk about Stetson Bennett and how there's sort of some conversations going around saying, oh, Stetson Bennett, like one of the greatest college football players of all time, or not players, but like college football quarterbacks of all time. Possibly. He's definitely in the conversation. I don't know. I still think that probably like Cam Newton or Joe Burrow or Tim Tebow, those guys are still up there. I feel like there's probably some other guys have played before that I didn't really get to watch, but I don't see why you can't put him up there. He's a 2-time national champion. He's an SEC champion. He's he only lost maybe 3 games at most. I mean, he was a winner, and he did some good stuff. Now, I don't know how he's going to translate to the NFL. If he's ever going to go to the NFL, I don't know. I feel like he could play in the NFL. Maybe that's just me watching some of these games. I'm like, I feel like he could play. I mean, if you were watching football right now, you could say, oh, he could be like Brock Purdy. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? If Stetson Bennett gets put in the right situation in the NFL, he could totally succeed. If you put him in a shitty situation, let's just say, for example, if you put him on the Texans, he's not going to succeed. He's going to fail. And we're all going to be like, oh, see, you could never be an NFL quarterback. No, you have to. I feel like there are certain quarterbacks that just need to be in the right situation, in the right offense, and the right players around him to succeed. It's like obviously you're seeing with the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy the greatest? Is he like a top 10 quarterback? Not necessarily. Obviously, he can continue to be if he keeps playing this way. But we all know that he's got amazing talent around with George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel. He's got a great offensive line and a great head coach who obviously knows his skill levels and what he can and cannot do, and gets him in the right positions, obviously. So if you do the same thing for Stetson Bennett, I feel like he could succeed in the NFL. Obviously, he's got a bunch of NFL players around him, so I don't know if he's like a second day or third day. No, I think I'm about to say gay. A third day guy. I think he could be a third day guy for sure, most likely. I don't see him going undrafted. I don't know what Stetson Bennett is exactly going to do, but if he wants to go pro, I encourage him. I don't see why not. I feel like it's just one of those things. Like I said, if he just gets put in the right situation, the right organization, like in the right NFL team, I feel like he could succeed. Now, I just don't know where. I feel like somehow we're assuming now this is okay. Back-to-back championships. This was the year. Like the next year, this is where Georgia is going to take a step back. I don't know. I feel like they're not. Now, granted, they're going to lose Stetson Bennett. They're going to lose a couple guys in the defensive side, but I feel like they just keep bringing more dominant players. I don't know. Last year's defense was amazing. This year's defense was also pretty good. Obviously, they had some moments, but they were really good. So I don't know if they're going to take a step back. I don't know what last year. I don't know. Because Alabama won in back-to-back in 2012 and 13. I don't know exactly what was their next year's record. I'm sure it was still really good. I don't even hold on. Let me look here real quick. So I'll just look up recent national champions here and see what national champions game. All right, here we go. All right. Wikipedia. Nope. Hold on. Nope. Still not getting it. Why can't I find it? Here we go. Nope. Hold on. Winners. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to look back to when Georgia went back-to-back. So if I can just find it. Here we go. Scroll. Here we go. So Bama won it in 2011, 2012. Then the following year, it was, this is the following year. Because the following year, they probably could have went to the national championship. And then they lost to, was that the year? 2013 was the following year, because 2013 was Florida State, because I knew Florida State was really good with Jameis Winston. Now, is that the year that they lost? Their only loss was to Auburn, because of Auburn's kick six was a crazy play and all that. And then Auburn obviously went on to win and be in the college football playoff, or not the college football playoffs, the BCS national championship, played Florida State, and obviously that was a great game as itself. Then so they won in 2012. Then they didn't win it again until 2015. Then they won it again in 2015. Then they won it in 2017, 2020, and they haven't won it since 2020. So it's so let's see. Let's recap. So obviously Alabama in 2011, 2012, 2015, 2017, 2020. So now you have Georgia and Alabama. So as basically your two top dogs in college football. Because I don't think Clemson's ever going to get back to where they probably could be at some point. I don't know. I'm not really this like crazy college football insider. I'm just sort of like thinking like, well, if they now they got rid of DJ and they got this kid named Cade, so maybe he's good. So, and then you got Ohio State. They're going to lose their quarterbacks. So I got to see how the offseason looks and who's going to transfer and who's going to do all this other stuff. So the college football offseason is going to be a little bit interesting, I think. So, okay. I think that's going to be, I think that was it. I think we covered it all for college football wise. So let's move on a little bit to the NFL side of things. I'm going to do some brief touches on college football, or not college football, the NFL. I'm not going to do a full on breakdown of last week. I'm just going to sort of just more go over the storyline. So obviously one of the storylines is my Chicago Bears getting the number 1 pick because the Colts couldn't one of the Colts defenders did not decide to knock the ball down. It's like, what are you doing, guy? Now, in a sense, he was actually being smart here because here's why. If the Colts would have won that game, they went from the 6th pick to maybe up even more. But since they lost that game, they went from 6 to 4. So really, he was being smart. But at the same time, Texans screw themselves over from being 1 to 2. Now people are going to be going, Chanler, there's nothing really much that different between being the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick. Wrong. You're wrong. Here's why. Because now the Bears have the number 1 pick, and we're going to trade that pick to someone who needs a quarterback. Say that, I don't know, let's just say the Texans, for example, or even the Colts, maybe even the Raiders. Who knows? I'm just trying to, or even the Falcons. I don't even know what pick they have. Just trying to think of other. Carolina, they need a quarterback. Look, I'm just saying we have all the leverage. We have the number 1 pick, and we don't necessarily need a quarterback. And obviously, there are teams out there who are going to go in this offseason. They're going to scout C.J. Stroud. They're going to scout Bryce Young. They're going to scout Will Levis. They're going to go, we want that guy. How are we going to get up there? Well, we can just trade it with the Bears. Well, they're going to ask for a lot. Hey, he's the franchise. He's going to change everything. You're going to go, all right, fine. We'll make a call to the Bears. And all we're asking for the Bears is at least 3 first rounders. At least it's the number 1 pick. You can't just trade it for 2. You got to get 3, at least 3, bunch of seconds, maybe a bunch of 5s, throw in a 7, and we'll call it good. Maybe even throw in a player. We don't care. We'll take whatever you want. Just give us all your picks. We'll take anything. Just give us your picks. You don't even need them. Who needs picks? We'll take them. If you don't want your picks, give us your picks, and then we'll take them from there. I think that seems fair, right? You know, because who really? I mean, the Rams went all in on winning the Super Bowl. So if you really want to get rid of your picks and do all that stuff, then just give us your picks. Picks are overrated. So I mean, the Bears are actually just being dumb and we'll take all the picks. And you guys can just be the smart ones. We'll be the dumb ones just to be the so-called rebuild team. And we're going to be the smart ones and do it all the whatever, the traditional way and just build it within draft picks. And you guys are going to be the smart people and draft and just say, fuck those picks. We're going to spend cap and we're going to trade for people. So yeah. Not really. I'm just trying to be an act type, trying to be like that spin zone of a fans going, oh, just do this, do that. So, okay. Another storyline heading in, because obviously we're now heading into the playoffs. So now we're down to 14 teams and there's 4 games to the Super Bowl. So interesting stuff for sure. There's going to be a lot of headlines. So like for example, that the Jacksonville Jaguars will play in the Chargers on, I don't even remember what. I think it's on Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night. I don't know who's going to win that game. It's going to be an interesting game for sure because you got 2 young quarterbacks, a second-year guy and Justin Herbert, who's in his third year. So it's like, wow, these guys are just the future. So I'll be interesting to see because there's some rumors going around that the Chargers are going to fire their head coach. What I don't see why, but I still can see why. So it's like, I can see why they're going to fire him, but also at the same time, it's like, well, he just got you to the playoffs. He's only in his second year. It's like, are you really going to fire him just to go get Sean Payton? Like, are you just can't you at least give the guy a chance? But he does some weird things that I can understand why they may fire him, because he does some weird things, like going in on 4th and down or going for a 2-point conversion when no needed. He does some weird things. So I don't know. And for Doug Peterson, obviously he's definitely a candidate for Coach of the Year. Obviously, from the Jacksonville Jaguars were literally last year the worst team, coached by Urban Meyer, who's obviously a terrible head coach in the NFL. Should have never been in the NFL. God knows why the Jacksonville decided to hire his ass. Anyways, they went from dead last to being now in the playoffs, because obviously the GM got some good talent around him, and obviously Doug Peterson's actually a good coach, because you know why? Because he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. I mean, it's simple as that. If you actually get a good coach, you're going to most likely could win some games. Unlike Urban Meyer, he's only good in college, because you know why? He's going to bully around his college players. He's going to tell them to go to class and do this, and if you don't do that, I'm taking your scholarship. He's just a bully. So, anyways, you got that game. Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals with the Ravens. Now, we don't know what Lamar Jackson's status is for that game, and we're going to see if he's even going to play, because I don't even know who's going to start. Really, like, no one really knows who's going to start. Now, the line's at 5.5, just to sort of make it even a little bit, because like either they can move it up to 7 towards the Bengals side of things if Lamar Jackson's not going to play. But if Lamar Jackson plays, they might put it down to 3. So it'll be kind of interesting where they could put this game out, if Lamar Jackson is going to play or not, because we still don't know yet if he's going to play. Is Tyler Huntley going to play? Is Anthony Brown going to play? Because if either one of those two is going to play, Cincinnati's going to win. Baltimore has no shot of winning. Because if Jackson does play, they got a better shot of winning. But if he doesn't play, they're not winning. It's just simple as that. Lamar Jackson carries that team. And I'd be shocked if this offseason, when they do the contract thing again, either one, you franchise tag him, or 2, you pay the man. If you're not going to pay him, I tell Lamar, be like, just be done. Just go to another team. Someone else will take care of you. Just leave that organization, because they clearly don't like you. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of all the injuries he's had. And now, granted, you watch him on the field, you go, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Pay the guy. It's not hard. But the Ravens just overthink things sometimes, I think. I don't know what they're doing. I just don't know. Maybe it just can't find the right number, but it's like, who cares? Just pay the guy. Just pay him. Who cares? Now, obviously, you look at Deshaun Watson's contract, you go, well, we don't really want to pay that. I don't blame you. No one should really pay that contract, but the Browns are being idiots because they genuinely thought they were getting Deshaun Watson, the old Deshaun Watson. No, you're getting the new Deshaun Watson, who might be a pervert and isn't really as good as we think he is anymore. Is that because he hasn't played in 2 years? Who knows? We'll find that out in the future. That's a future problem for the Browns. But anyways, I just don't see the Ravens winning this game if they either have Tyler Huntley or Anthony Brown at quarterback. So it's going to be really interesting how that goes out. For the Bengals, they're really a dangerous team in these AFC playoffs, because, like, last year they got a home playoff game because they won the division, and then they beat the Raiders, and they went on the road to play the Tennessee Titans, who were the number 1 seed. They beat them, and then they obviously went to the AFC Championship game in Arrowhead, beat the Chiefs, and then they went to the Super Bowl. They were like one play away, really, from potentially winning the Super Bowl. If Aaron Donald doesn't sack Joe Burrow, who knows? Joe Burrow could have a Super Bowl ring right now in his hand. I mean, my God, the guy's really good. So it's going to be really interesting how the Bengals are going to do this this postseason, because I truly think they're one of the dangerous teams in that AFC. For the the Bills and Dolphins. For the Bills and Dolphins, yeah, we don't. It's the same thing with the quarterback thing. We just don't know who's going to exactly play, because if it's Skylar Thompson, Dolphins have no chance. If it's Tua, they got a chance, because they actually played pretty well in Buffalo in like week 15-ish. It was like week 15, I think. It was like a couple weeks ago. They played pretty well, so I feel like, if they play well, they have a chance. I don't see why not. So if Tua can be healthy and not be concussed, then they have a chance of winning. Now, people are going to go, whoa, Tua's not good. No. He's been concussed a couple times. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. I feel like he's still a pretty good quarterback. He's just been concussed. Man's been concussed like twice this year, and he doesn't know where he is, I feel like, sometimes. That's probably why he threw those weird picks in the Packers game, because he doesn't remember those plays. He's like, well, I don't know. I just threw it. I don't remember. And they'd be like, that's a problem, Tua. That's a problem if you don't remember things. So you gotta be able to, one, either protect Tua and just say you're not playing, regardless if it's a playoff game. We care about your health. If he is good to go and he's just like, all right, fine, Tua. If you play, you play. So it just really all depends on Tua's health, how this game will play out. Because if Tua plays, it could be a close game. If Tua doesn't play, Bills are gonna blow him out. So obviously for the Bills side of things a little bit, we've seen, the Bills have had a slightly weird year. I'm not going to lie. They've had some adversity. They've had some travel issues with the weathers and all that. There's some travesties in the Buffalo community with the shooting in a grocery store. And then they had to move the game because of the snowstorm to Detroit. And then they had to stay a couple days, and then they had to stay in Chicago for Christmas time. Then they had to hold the Mar Hamlin situation, which is also very scary. They almost lost a teammate, but thankfully he's going to be okay now. So I mean, they've had a low-key weird season. They've had some adversities, and Lamar and Von Miller getting hurt. He's out for the year. So it's truly there's got some weird stuff, and obviously they've overcome it, and they're in the 2 seed. They could have potentially been the 1 seed, but obviously with the whole Monday night game getting canceled, so they got moved down to the 2 seed. So anyways, it's some good stuff. I mean, some people are saying that the team of destiny. I don't disagree. I think they might be, because like I said, they've had God, that scared me. I hate that neighbor over there, low key. He keep revving up his fucking engine. Dude, stop. I'm trying to report a podcast, doofus. I don't know if anybody really heard that, but if they did, that kind of scared me. Okay. Like I said, what was I? Oh, God. I don't remember what I was saying. Okay. So if the Bills are sort of a team of destiny, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, they were going through some adversity and all this other stuff. And it's just almost feel like the Bills are probably going to win the Super Bowl. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, my roommate Sean is sort of a Joe Burrow Bengals fan, so I'll be rooting along with him with the Bengals, but I'll be rooting for either the Chiefs, Bengals, or not Browns, Bengals, Bills, or Chiefs to make it to the Super Bowl, because I just enjoy all those teams. They're a fun team to watch for sure. Obviously, on the NFC side of the playoffs, you have you got the Bucs and Cowboys. Tom Brady's still undefeated against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are 3-point favorites going into Tampa. That's usually a little bit odd that a road team is favored at home against Tom Brady. So it's just Now the Bucs aren't who we think they are, even though they played 2 good games towards the end of the year. It's where were these Bucs all year? So I don't know what Bucs we're going to get in these playoffs. I really don't. Either we're going to get the Bucs that played really well against the Panthers, or we're going to get the Bucs who have been totally inconsistent and just been bad from week 6 on. So I just don't know what Bucs we're going to get. I really don't. They're a really weird team. I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. They're really real nutcase. So maybe they win, maybe they don't. But I'll still take the Cowboys probably. Then you have the Giants and Vikings on the other. So obviously the Minnesota Vikings finished the season with a negative point differential, was -3 or something. So I feel like that's really bad, and I'm sure my cousin will tell me that's really bad, and I'm sure I'll be like, dude, that is really bad. So I don't know, because here's the thing. So the Minnesota Vikings are 11-0 in 1-score games, and one of those 1-score games they beat the Giants earlier this year. So I feel like the Minnesota Vikings were up pretty good, and then the Giants slowly crawled back. They tied the game, and then the Vikings got the ball back. They drove, they kicked the field goal to win. The rest is history. So if this comes down to a field goal game, I'm a little concerned for the Vikings fans, because you know why? Greg Joseph might screw them over of a playoff win. Now, he's a little inconsistent, as coming from a Bears fan who suffered a double doink. Still pains me a little bit to this day, but I've gone over it. It's fine. It happens. sporting events like that happen. It sucks. But anyways, I'm afraid for my Vikings fans out there that Greg Joseph is going to do the same thing to them like Blair Walsh did to them in like 2013 or something like that. Whenever game that was against Seattle, I'm afraid it's going to happen to them again. Now, I hope that doesn't, and if I put that in the universe, it might just happen. So that's a little bit like, oh shit, I just jinxed the Vikings. But my cousin who he just stouts his teams all the time. He's like, oh shit, something bad's gonna happen, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, you just have to calm down. Why can't you just ever accept that something good could happen to your team? Now, granted, he does root for teams that usually do bad things, and bad things do happen to his teams. But I'm like, dude, just once in your life, just stop thinking negatively. It gets a little annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I still love the guy, but like, holy cow, dude. It's like, think a little more positively. Why don't you in your life? So, anyways, I might pick the Giants, but I'm gonna root for the Vikings just because I want my cousin to be satisfied. I do. I just want him to be happy. I do. I'm tired of his negativity on his teams. I'm just tired of it. And I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. So then we got the San Francisco 49ers with the Seahawks, and how this game's going to play out. It's either Brock Purdy's going to continue to play on really well for his team, for the San Francisco 49ers, or he's going to come back down to earth because the playoff pressure has got to him. Who knows? I think Brock Purdy will continue to play well at a high level because you know why? He's got all the weapons around him. He's got a great kid. He's got George Kittle. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Brandon Ayuk. He's got Chris McCaffrey. He's got Kyle Juszczyk. He's got a great offensive line. He's got one of the best defenses in the world in the NFL. He's got Kyle Shanahan. I don't see how he doesn't continue to succeed because obviously he's played in the 5 games that he started and plus the game that he came in during the Dolphins game. He's played really well. I just don't see how he doesn't continue to play well. Now, he might have a little bit of a hiccup because, it's a playoff game. He might get a little nervous and all that. And that's perfectly normal for a rookie quarterback. I completely could understand that. So it's going to be really interesting how that game will be played out. Now, I think the Niners will probably still win because they've had the Seahawks numbers in a while. So now here's the thing. The Seahawks sort of crawled their way in because I feel like Seattle played really good in the beginning of the season. Towards like the second half, they were like, meh, they were good. They had some moments. They weren't as good as we thought they were. They still made the playoffs, which is great to them. I still think they probably deserve to be in the playoffs. I wanted Detroit in over them because Detroit was way more fun, but obviously it's the same thing. Detroit doesn't really deserve it because you know why? Because they didn't win enough games, and they had enough games where they probably should have won, but they didn't. So it sucks both ways. If you're either a Steelers fan, a Lions fan, a Seahawks fan, a Packers fan even, there are moments you go, well, if you just would have won that one game, you wouldn't be in the situation. So there you go. That's your fault for being in this situation. Like the Lions were 1-6. If you didn't start 1-6, you wouldn't not be outside the playoff. If the Steelers didn't start the season 2-6, you wouldn't not be outside the playoffs. If the Packers didn't go 4-8 to start the season, they would be in the playoffs. It's the same thing for any teams out there that were sort of thinking, oh, we can be in. Look, all you have to do is win your games. You win the games that you're supposed to win. If you don't win the games you're not supposed to win, I don't know what to tell you. You got to start out the season strong. You can't go out to a slow start and then finish on a high note. You got to start the season strong and keep going forward. So my Detroit Lions are going to be a sneaky team this next year. So as long as they keep developing guys and bring some new guys in, they're going to continue to help them win. Then I'm all in. So anyways, back to Seattle a little bit. So Geno played at a really high level, and I think he's probably going to win some awards, either be like comeback player of the year or he's going to win something that's like acknowledged what he did because it was truly remarkable stuff. Because we all thought that Seattle was going to be like one of the worst teams in the NFL, along with my Chicago Bears. Wrong. They're in the playoffs now. They played really well. Like I said, they got to a hot start, and then they cooled off a bit. Now, they are in the playoffs, and they obviously deserved it because they beat the Rams. It is what it is. So you just got to think, well, how do the Seahawks have a chance? Well, you got to rattle Purdy and you got to make him do things he's not comfortable doing. So make him uncomfortable. That's simple what it is. So, and Geno's just got to play good football. You just got to, no. There are some moments you got to find, I don't know, you got to find the matchups that to give you the advantage over the Niners. Because I feel like whatever the Raiders did to them is almost key to success in a sense. So it'll be interesting to see how this game really does play out. Because, like I said, I do think the Niners are really the team to beat in the NFC. Now, the Eagles do have the 1 seed, and they've been the best team probably all year. They did have some moments. Now, their one loss was the Cowboys, and they didn't have Jalen Hurts. That was with Gardner Minshew. And Gardner, okay, people will say he's not that good. We're like, whoa, let's pump the brakes here. I still think he's a good quarterback, at least in a sense. Like, I don't know. It was like that Saints game was not probably his brightest moments. Like, I thought he played. We went from Gardner Minshew played pretty well against the Dallas Cowboys, and then we played to the Saints. It's like, oh, he's not good. What? No. He's probably good. Is he a starting quarterback in this league? Yeah, probably for a team that just wants to win a couple more games than usual. Then yeah, he's a bridge quarterback. But like, well, let's just not say that he's always terrible. So, I mean, it's still the Eagles probably to win the NFC and get to the Super Bowl. But if it comes down to the Eagles or Niners, I'm taking the Niners all day. I trust that defense. I've been trusting that offense all year. What Christian McCaffrey's been doing, he's been playing awesome. Since he's gone there, he's played awesome. So I just don't see why the Niners don't win it all. So if I'm going to actually I'll probably do an episode like Friday and like I'll do like a bracket or something like that. And then I'll post my Super Bowl pick from there. Because I did like tweet it out saying the Philadelphia Eagles and the Indianapolis Colts were going to get the 2-1 seeds. And I was right about the Eagles. I was completely wrong about the Indianapolis Colts because they were terrible. Now they got off to a decent start, I think, but then they just actually they didn't even get to a decent start. They got an awful start to start the year. It was just not good. Matt Ryan, sorry, dude, like you, just not good. It was just not good stuff. Not good stuff. So, anyways, so it is Tuesday, and in a couple minutes from now, I'm going to be heading out to go watch a basketball game. And this week it's official first week of school, so that's exciting stuff. I got to do all my classes and all that, and those some fun stuff. I'm excited for this semester. I'm hoping to pass all my classes and graduate, and then we'll go from there. I mean, I feel like the podcast is doing pretty well. I'm getting a little bit better about the content that I'm creating. I've done some good stuff. I feel like we're putting out some good things out there. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I hope some moments I go, well, I could probably do a little bit better of this, a little bit better of that. But I feel like I'm still, producing some good content. I'm going to try and get some more interviews. I'm sort of making some connections with some like people out there. So maybe I can get them on the pod here. I think I'm going to get, I got, like I said, I got some people in mind that I'm going to eventually go start asking people, be like, hey, you want to come on the pod for a little bit and just chit chat for like 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out to people for sure. Maybe like by the end of this month, I'll be like sort of make a list of people that I want on the pod and stuff like that. And also think of things I want to either create on YouTube, like some highlights or some more bits or just some clips from the podcast that I'm doing. So like I said, just be on the lookout for all the social media clips and all that other stuff. So with that being said, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. So make sure you go and subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or Amazon, or wherever you may miss listening to this. And it's available on all platforms of podcasting. And you can also find me on social media. It's at Tweet Show. So TWEDT Show. Once again, on Twitter, on TWEDT Show on Twitter. And you also can find me on TikTok, which, by the way, one of my TikTok videos that I posted out there is up to like 2,000 views and like maybe like 12,000 likes. It was like something crazy. Let me get the latest update. Let me get the latest update here. So we're at 2,011 views, 200K views, and 23 23K likes, and we've got like a 200 or 160 comments, and like 1,000 people have favored this video. So like I said, I'm enjoying the content that I'm creating. Hope it continues to do well. So I'll put all those social media like stuff on the app and the episode descriptions and all that. So I appreciate everybody listening to this episode, and I will see you guys next time.